Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our city. We are right here in the mayor's office at the Muscatine City Hall. It's June 25th of 2019, and I can't believe June is finally almost over. It's been a long month, it seems, even though it's only got 30 days in it. But now the heat is really kicking up. I hope everybody had a good weekend in between the raindrops that we had here and there. Let's see, we went to a reunion. My grandma's side of the family, the Atkins reunion. We went there over at Weed Park. I can't tell you, we drove around and there were a lot of families out gathering at Weed Park having a really nice time. So if you want to rent or reserve any of the shelters at any of our parks, just call the Muscatine Parks and Rec and get your reservation in. Then Sunday we spent 10 hours taking our granddaughter up to Camp Hertco Hollow. So that's a camp up in Boone, actually at the Y camp. There's a week for youth and then a week for teens, and they reserve the whole camp, and it's for children that have diabetes. And the Muscatine Diabetes Project does a really good job supporting sending all the children with diabetes to camp. So if you have or know of a child with diabetes, please hook up with the Muscatine Diabetes Project. You can find them on Facebook, and they'll be very supportive to hook you up into different things like that. And it's a really wonderful opportunity for the children to network with other kids with similar diagnosis, as well as providing an opportunity for the families to have respite. Even though I will worry the entire week until she's back here where I can look at her, but it's still fun for them. So we have a really good evening planned. We have Auston McClain here from Family Resources. He's going to talk to us about breaking traffic. And then we have Daniel Salazar, and he's going to talk to us about LULAC. So we're really excited to hear what they have to share with our city. And our first guest we're going to welcome right now, Auston McClain.
Hi, Mayor.
Hey,
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Hey, thanks for coming down. Do you live up in Davenport?
I live in Davenport in the East Village.
Okay, but I know you're down here doing programming all the time because I see you.
I'm constantly in Muscatine.
Yes, you are. Yes, I do. I met you at the Muscatine Consortium that they hold once a month over at Pizza Ranch. It's a really good time for everybody to collaborate together and share the resources that they have, share all the programs that they have to offer, and then wow, when you're working with a family and you hear them bring up a need that you've heard somebody talk about, oh, I have a resource for this, it's a perfect opportunity to say, hey, wait a minute, I remember this one guy talking about this one thing, and really send them to you for that help that they need. So good opportunity to do that networking.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. Yeah. So breaking traffic, so that's the program that you run at Family Resources.
Yeah.
So breaking traffic, tell us what it's about.
So Breaking Traffic is a program of Family Resources, and we work with survivors of human trafficking. We work with clients in Louisa County and Muscatine County, Scott County, Clinton County, and Jackson County.
Wow. So is it a big problem?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people say it can't happen here, you know, not in like our smaller communities, but in reality we have 119 clients right here in our community, you know, up in those 5 counties that I just named.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's a real thing that happens here.
It is, but you know what? We live with our head in the sand sometimes, don't we?
Well, I'm trying to make that change.
Yes,
my
because
job.
you know, like you and I were talking, you know, before the show, we need to know what to watch for.
Yeah. So, you know, there's a really long list of things that I could go through. And the most important thing to remember is that no one of those things is the sign that that's human trafficking. Oh, you know, found it.
Sure.
You know, but there are a lot of things that that you could see that might potentially be a red flag.
Could it be somebody in your family or a stranger or both?
Oh gosh, it can happen anywhere.
Okay.
And so we've seen, you know, I think when you hear of human trafficking, there's a media-driven image in your head of what that means.
Yes.
However, you know, a lot of times when I give my presentations, I challenge that. And I let people know that, you know, when we think of that, we think of a male, for instance.
Right.
Always. If I tell you right now, describe a trafficker to me, you're automatically going to say, well, but it doesn't have to be that.
That's the picture in my mind,
exactly,
though.
Exactly. It can be females, all right?
Sure.
It can be a family member. It can be a spouse. In fact, a lot of times a trafficker, when they're grooming somebody, that's their process that they use. They get somebody to trust them, and then once they've groomed them enough, that's when they start to exploit them.
So is trafficking really, you don't have to move from place to place.
You don't have to, but you can.
But you can.
It happens sometimes.
But
like
basically, in a nutshell, and please correct me if I'm wrong, what I think human trafficking is somebody that either befriends you or uses force to make you engage in prostitution for their benefit.
Yeah, so the three components that have to be there is force, fraud, or coercion, at least speaking on a legal terms. Human trafficking is when somebody is forced through force, fraud, or coercion into the two types that we work with are sex trafficking and labor trafficking.
So it could be labor as
it can
well.
Be labor trafficking
oh,
as
see,
well.
now I hadn't thought of that either.
Yeah, and so for labor trafficking, some of the industries that you'll see is agriculture. You'll see construction. You'll see factories.
Okay.
You know, I hate to give like a short list because,
Sure.
like I said, it can happen anywhere.
Right.
You know, we've seen it in nail salons, and massage parlors, and restaurants, and hotels.
Oh my
I can give you a really long list
Wow.
right now. You know, so that's there too. And then for sex trafficking, you know, so you pointed out that that's what people think of, and that's absolutely correct.
Okay.
Right? That when you think of human trafficking, that's what you think of as sex trafficking.
Right.
That can happen through an escort service, an illicit massage parlor, a brothel. You know, it can happen through a lot of different things. We've seen pornography. You know, people forced into that lifestyle.
Okay.
Stripping, you know, webcam pornography. So, but
Could
yeah,
be a
anybody
lot.
who is forced into the commercial sex trade, the commercial sex industry, is somebody who is a survivor at that point of human trafficking.
So they're
specifically
forced to
sex
do
trafficking.
it
Yeah.
in one way or another.
Yeah.
Okay, either by coercion or manipulation or...
Yeah, you know, the important thing to know is that a trafficker is very manipulative.
Oh, sure.
And so a lot of times a person who's in this situation, they don't even realize that they're a victim. They don't even see themselves as somebody who, you know, they don't say, oh, I'm being trafficked, you know, because that trafficker is so good at manipulating them and so good at grooming them that a lot of times they think, well, you know, I'm doing this, but that person has my best intentions at heart.
Yeah.
You know, when really it's anything but. In Jackson County, like I said, it can happen anywhere.
And there really aren't any small towns anymore. The way our world has gotten really small.
Yeah.
When you think of the technology that we have, the highways, the interstates, you know, all of the ways to get from here to there, they don't take very long.
Yeah, you know, I love numbers. I'm always like researching new trends in human trafficking, and I've read before that 60% of human trafficking now originates online in some way or another.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, and even in the recruitment process, you know, a trafficker will look for vulnerabilities. And so that can be any number of ways, but I've seen instances where a trafficker will go through, say, Instagram, and they'll look for those posts of people saying, I'm lonely, you know, or I'm so ugly. And then they will respond to that, you know. And so when we do our, when I'm out in the community doing education, say with high school students or middle school students, a lot of what I do is concentrate on internet safety and healthy relationships and how to ensure that we can try to break that cycle.
And what we need to do as adults is continue to build them up.
Yeah, you know, it's important to start that education at a very early age. To teach healthy relationships, to ensure that people understand that this is not okay.
Sure. And certainly it would seem to me, you know, one of the big problems that we're working on in our community, as well as many communities across the state of Iowa and the nation for that matter, is working on mental illness.
Yeah.
It would seem to me that people that suffer from mental illness or a disability are probably even much more so able to be victimized by trafficking.
You know, if like I said, a trafficker will look for those vulnerabilities.
Oh, sure.
And that is definitely in there. You know, we've seen instances of a trafficker who, when they are attempting to recruit somebody, you know, they use somebody with developmental disabilities, and that was the type that they would target. You know, it's very sad.
Wow.
You know, to think of
very sad.
Some of the most vulnerable people in our communities
Sure.
Are being trafficked, you know, and being targeted for such a heinous reason.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long has Family Resources had this program then?
So we merged with Breaking Traffic. Breaking Traffic was its own standalone organization, started by former State Senator Maggie Tinsman.
Right.
And then I think about 4 years ago, we merged with Family Resources. And that gave us the opportunity to expand our services.
Oh, sure.
And to go not just we could do not only the educational part in the community, but it gave us the opportunity to serve clients as well. And now we have 119 clients right in the community, right in this community.
So you work with them not only in awareness campaigns, like you're certainly you coming and talking to us tonight, and talking to us at the weekly consortium meeting, and going into the schools, but then you also are able to get them into services at Family Resources after they have been victimized to try to help them begin that healing process? Yeah,
so if somebody, very important to point out, if somebody is in a situation where they feel they might be affected by human trafficking, or if you know somebody who thinks that you could be affected by human trafficking, then we're here to help, and that's what we do. And so we have a crisis line.
Okay.
I'll give a little plug on it, 866-921-3354.
So this must be the Iowa number.
So that's the Iowa State number that you're seeing there. And then also you can text 20121. And what they will do is they will connect you to us. They'll connect you to local services.
Very good.
Yeah.
So do you want to repeat the number that you had too?
So then that number that I gave is specifically for Family Resources. Yep. And so what that'll do is that'll connect you straight to us to receive services. 866-921-3354.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can find us at famres.org, or
there we go.
Or we have an office right here in Muscatine at 801 Oregon Street. Okay. Yeah.
And I think they have a local number, 263-6055.
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right. 67. There we go. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I used to work at Family Resources many moons ago.
Really?
Right out of college.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yes, certainly. Are there other things that average Joe in Muscatine needs to watch for? We need to know what to watch for, and you kind of said some of those for us already. We also need to know where to call if we have a suspicion, and that's what these two numbers here that we just learned about. What if you aren't sure? You can still call that number and just tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if that number is not, it's not like we're going to come in and rescue. Rescue is not really in our vocabulary.
Okay.
Everything that we do is client-driven and survivor-centered.
Very good. So maybe even a victim could call, or a bystander.
Yeah, if you think that you've seen it, then also call.
Okay.
Call in a tip. You can call that state hotline to report a tip, and there are different areas within the community that sometimes you say, I think that might be a red flag. Okay. It's always safe to just call.
And then they might call the police.
Yeah, so especially if you call the National Human Trafficking Hotline. All right, there's that state line that we just named there, but then the National Human Trafficking Hotline, I've used that myself to report suspicious situations. And I know for a fact that is connected straight to the state police. Okay. And then that will trickle down into the local police department.
And then somebody may go check it out.
Yeah. So I know just from using it myself that as soon as they get a call from the National Human Trafficking Hotline or the state hotline, that the police jump on it right away.
Sure. And I know that our Muscatine Police Department and our Sheriff's Department in Muscatine County, they're very highly trained, so I'm quite certain that they know how to deal with this type of a situation, because I'm sure it's a very delicate situation to make sure. I could even see where a victim would be saying, no, I'm fine, like domestic violence. And so they must have to be trained quite well to be able to differentiate when they're really not fine.
Yeah, you know, that's the interesting thing about human trafficking is that not everybody self-identifies
Sure.
as a victim of human trafficking.
Sure.
And the reason for that is because a trafficker is so manipulative and they're so good at making you think that they're doing this for you. And they're so good at making you distrust the police or that system.
Oh, sure.
And saying, look, you know, you're the one out there doing this, so if I'm caught, you're caught too. When in reality, our relationship that we've seen with police is, you know, they should be treated as a survivor and they should be treated as a victim.
Good.
Yeah.
So I'm certain this is against the law then.
Absolutely.
What do the laws look like? What are they? What is the severity of it? So I'm certain that this is a felony. And what kind of laws are out there for this type of thing?
You know, a lot of times if there's a human trafficking case, it is easy for that to go federal. I don't know exactly what the sentence is for
Sure.
it. You know, I know that I've seen cases that I've read about where the sentence has been in the decades.
Oh, very good.
But a lot of
so
times
this is not just a misdemeanor that they're going to get a slap on the wrist
it's a
for.
serious offense.
It's a very
yeah,
serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's easy for this to become a federal case because a lot of times a trafficker, when they're dealing with a case, it's not just right here. They're taking them everywhere.
Cross state lines.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it immediately becomes a federal
Well, it
case.
would seem like it would be like kidnapping as well, you know, as a piece of it, which is a very serious crime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we really need people like you and Family Resources to be on target and teaching us about these kinds of things, because it just gives you chills to think that you might come into contact with someone who is a victim of this, and you might miss those, excuse me, the signals. I swallowed wrong. Tell us a story.
You know, I can say that Family Resources, we've been around for about 150 years. All right, we're a very old organization. We do a lot of work. And breaking traffic is a part of our Survivor Services program. So we work with people who are survivors of many forms of trauma, many forms of violence. So we work with people who are survivors of domestic abuse, sexual abuse, homicide and other violent crimes. And we have our Breaking Traffic program, our human trafficking program. And then also I'll give a little plug to our Engaging Males program.
Yes.
That's our male mentoring program. We're currently very actively recruiting volunteers and mentors for Engaging Males. It's a male mentoring program to engage with young men in the community.
There, I think I'm better.
All right.
Finally. Great.
You just gave me the free rein, so I'm going to start plugging the entire organization.
Oh, yeah. I know we have, talking about male mentoring stuff, we do a dad's group through the Y. I think for so long, men have often been left out from the service industry, and really they have a lot of needs that have not been met, or they've been overlooked as a parent.
Yes, absolutely.
Certainly as a mentor. And I think we can all agree that children need that male role model in their lives as well.
Yeah, and that's why we started Engaging Males, is because we realized that a lot of times men, and young men especially, they fall through the cracks when it comes to receiving services after experiencing trauma.
Oh, sure.
And that's everything Survivor Services, our Survivor Services department does, is we help people who have experienced trauma. We, through a lot of different ways, through counseling, through being an advocate, and trying to help them heal and trying to help them find a new sense of normal after experiencing a traumatic incident.
Because it may never be the same again, but it doesn't mean that it can't move forward on a positive note.
Yeah, especially if you've had something that's very traumatic in your life.
Sure.
That's the thing. Your life will never be the same.
No.
And so that's why I say, for them to try to heal and to try to find that new sense of normal.
Sure. Yeah.
Well,
thank you so much. How long have you been doing this, Austin?
You know what? I started specifically with Breaking Traffic in January.
Oh, wow.
So,
this year?
just this year.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and then I've got a lot of experience, being out in the community, doing public education, community organizing, and so I was very at home coming in.
Sure.
Here,
Well, that's great. And we need it.
My whole history is Basically, if you tried to boil it down to one thing, I always try to say, my whole history is trying to speak for people who don't always have a voice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Love it. Love all that you do to try to help people in our community and keep everybody safe and healthy, and certainly knowing that they have assistance out there that they could go to.
Yeah, thank you. And if anybody out there is watching, if you work with a community who
sure.
may be experiencing higher rates of vulnerability, somebody who has increased risk factors, that's exactly what I do. My job 100% is to go out and teach and talk to the community. I can talk with staff at any organization.
Oh, that's great. Staff
I was already
meetings.
bugging you about that.
That's awesome.
And that's exactly what I do.
Well, there's so many community organizations,
Exactly.
employers
Yes.
that you could go to and
Yes.
share this information, because
Yes.
we all need to hear it.
Yes, and schools, any organization,
Yep.
any group that thinks that they would benefit from hearing this,
Sure.
by all means, reach out to me. I will be
right.
there. I'm happy to talk to anybody about this.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
So if you need to get a hold of Auston, you can contact me and I can get you in touch with him. Or you probably wouldn't want to call one of these emergency numbers. So
probably not an emergency number.
No, probably
However,
not.
if you go to famres.org, then you can certainly reach out to us that way as well.
That sounds perfect. And you have a Facebook page too.
Absolutely, Family Resources.
Yeah, so they could instant message and ask you to call them.
Yeah.
There you go. Sounds great. Thank you so much,
Thank
Auston.
you, Mayor. Thank you so much for
I'm
having
so
me.
glad you came.
I'm so glad I came.
I'm glad. Well, thank you. Well, we're going to transition into our next guest, and hopefully I don't have another coughing fit. I've been trying to get over bronchitis, and every once in a while I get a little titch of a setback, but we'll hope that's done for the night. We're going to talk about the Almost Friday Fest, and I think we have a flyer to share with you, because that's going to be coming up on Thursday. This Thursday night, as you know, there will not be a Muscatine City Council meeting because it's the fourth Thursday of the month. So for the rest of the summer, on the fourth Thursday of the month, there will be an Almost Friday Fest. So you're not going to want to miss this. The Tim Stop Band's going to be there. They are going to have all kinds of stuff for the kids. There's going to be free entertainment, kids play area, food trucks, beer and wine, all kinds of stuff. I will be driving a golf cart to move you back and forth if you would like a ride. And so if you want to park over in the parking lot, you can ride on the golf cart with me over to the festivities. So you can come out down on the riverfront Thursday night, Almost Friday Fest. You're not going to want to miss it. Next, on Sunday is the Art Center's annual ice cream social. So that's going to start at 1 o'clock at the Art Center. Their cruising's going to be there. Pandalarium's going to be there. The Civic Corral's going to be there. Heartland Harmony and artists, meet and greets. It's going to be a ton of fun. So you're not going to want to miss this. There's going to be a bike ride from Discovery Park right at 1 o'clock. Ice cream, pie, cake, cookies, and more, and all the proceeds benefit the Friends of the Art Center. Next, Rockin' on Sycamore is going to be coming up July 12th from 7 to 10:30. That is a great event. I believe this is the second or third. I think it's the second though. So it's going to be 2 nights, Friday, July 12th. There's going to be Christian rock music that night. And then Saturday, July 13th is going to be classic rock. So it's going to be a great time of fun, free admission both nights. And then just save the date for the county fair. You all know that the Muscatine County Fair has so many different things to enjoy for everybody in our city. There's music, there's wrestling, there's tractor pulls, there's demolition derbies, and the kids have a ton of fun on the rides. So what's not to love? Let's hope for good weather, no rain, no heat, no gnats at all. So I would love to have you help me welcome Daniel Salazar. Daniel is with LULAC, and he's at MCC too, right, Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you go by Dan or Daniel?
Well, Daniel, or whichever one you like.
I thought Daniel is what I hear people call you. So we want to know more about LULAC. I know we've all heard of it, and we all know basically what it is, but what does LULAC stand for?
Sure. So LULAC stands for League of United Latin American Citizens.
Okay.
And it's an organization that started down in Texas. It was a combination of a lot of different groups for Latino rights at the time.
Sure.
And this was at a time where there were still segregated schools. Where there were still no dogs, no Mexicans allowed.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So they started LULAC as a way to share with each other that we do have rights.
Yeah, at the end of the day they eventually thought, they figured out that they are stronger together.
Yeah,
so
right. Always.
Exactly. So instead of having all these little groups, they combined to make the League of United Latin American Citizens there.
That is so good. So we have chapters. I've heard of chapters around. I know there's a really big one in West Liberty. And then the one in Muscatine, that's the one that you're affiliated with, right?
Yes. Now, there's two different ones in Muscatine.
Okay, there's one at MCC.
There's one at MCC, and that's the collegiate chapter. So the one that's at the college.
And that's the one that you're talking about tonight.
Yes, ma'am, and that one, and also just a mix of LULAC in general,
Of course.
we do help each other out a lot with different events.
Sure. So then where's the other group meet at?
So they actually do usually end up meeting there at the college as well.
Oh, okay.
At the student center. And that's the adult council there, and that's led by Nick Salazar, no relation.
Really? I didn't know that there was no relation. I kind of thought you guys were related in some way. Okay. So this picture, can you go back to that picture, Ryan? Was this a picture of like one of your meetings?
So this picture here, it was a fundraiser that we had. It was a loteria night. Now, what loteria is pretty much Mexican bingo. And here we had a lot of different members from the community show up. Nick is somewhere in there, and you can see me in blue shorts there at the podium reading out the, what the things are to play.
So it's a type of bingo.
Yes.
Fun. And then all the proceeds went to the LULAC Club.
Yes.
Okay. So do you, so what, LULAC, I know that you're working on just awareness for Latinos, but is there an overall mission that you guys are working at? Do you are you looking at making sure that the laws are favorable, that everything's fair?
Right. Now, yes, there's a few components of the LULAC.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, remember that we are a nonpartisan group.
Yes.
We're for whatever is best. One side of what we do is look at things legally, look at people's rights, and make sure that they understand that.
Yes.
Because there are dozens of parents of students who don't understand what they can and cannot do.
Sure.
And not knowing that can be really scary.
Oh, yeah.
Now, another part that we do, and we focus more on this at the college because of the youth, is embracing and understanding people's culture. Because being Latino is not just being Mexican.
Right.
There's a couple vice presidents there. The other vice president is from Guatemala. So it's really important to us to make sure we explore that, we understand that. At the college, we've already held a few events in the past.
Yeah.
Whether it just be like a tortilla making night.
Sure.
We had a Dia de los Muertos celebration. And Loteria night.
Yes. So it's important to remember then the Latinos are not just from the country of Mexico, but like you're saying, Guatemala, Spain, these are all Latinos and they're all welcome in your group?
Absolutely. And going further onto that, it has to be understood that you don't have to be a Latino to join.
That's interesting. That's wonderful.
And yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we want people to understand is that we're a group that wants to help the Latino community.
Sure.
And if you're not Latino and if you want to help the community, by all means.
That makes sense.
That's
right. So you're a nonpartisan group.
Yes.
So you're basically just working to make sure everything's fair. I saw something on TV not very long ago on the news where a gentleman, and I believe he was affiliated with LULAC, somebody was, a police officer somewhere was stopping him and was violating his rights. And I don't, it might not have been a police officer, it might have been like at a college security guard or something. And he just was very, very calm and said, I have the right to be able to do this or that, and just very calmly. So is that part of what you do, is make sure that everybody knows what their rights are?
Yeah, there is so at the college we do tend to go to a lot of conferences, of culture conferences, and that are hosted at the University of Iowa and other small colleges as well. And there was one at Iowa Wesleyan, I believe, and they handed out cards in English and in Spanish for people to read if they're ever approached by an ICE agent.
I think that's what this was, yes, that I was watching.
Okay.
And he was reading this, saying that he had these rights. Very interesting. And you know, I think the culture of diversity is just something that is so important to us. And here in Muscatine, I like to think that we embrace it, and we embrace everybody's differences, and certainly some folks do a better job of that than others, but we hope that everybody will eventually be able to cherish and embrace the differences that we all bring, and make sure that everybody is treated fair, no matter what your background is.
Absolutely.
And I think that, you know, from what I know of LULAC, they do a wonderful job of that. So you're not standing up and screaming and you know, demanding this and that, but it's more of an educational tool to just let people know to embrace their differences, but make sure to stand up as well for what they believe in. So it looks like the mission here is to advance the economic condition, educational attainment, political influence, housing, health, and civil rights of the Hispanic population of the United States. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yes.
And you really could, you could substitute anything in there to make sure that everybody has those same rights, right?
Absolutely. And we're a group pretty much to better the well-being of not just Latinos, but of people. I know at the college, we have the sense of community there, and we have a lot of different clubs. So one of the things that we try to do there is to participate.
Sure.
To help out in what way that we can to help other people there as well.
Well, and you know, what you're doing is helping everyone, whether they're from the Latino population or they aren't. Because when one group of us is held down, it hurts us all.
Absolutely.
So as everybody is lifted up, then we're all in a better position. So
and especially in a place like Iowa, with you know, a lot of the workers coming in from not from here, and just that opportunity that they have, helping us at the end of the day, you know, being taken away or being restricted, it doesn't just hurt them, but it hurts us as well.
Of course, of course. And our community has a vast amount of people from the Latino community. And so, I mean, you're just a part of our city. And so we need to embrace that. And
right.
Go ahead.
Well, there is, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she is from Guatemala. And she came here, you know, when she was in her teens. And the other day she was talking to me, and she was like, "Oh, you know, I don't know if I feel comfortable sometimes going to places. I don't know. I'm Guatemalan. I'm Californian. I'm not sure." And you know, and I thought about it, and I said, "Well, you know what that makes you, right?" She's like, "I don't know." I said, "That makes you American."
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, that's what we are. We're a diverse mix of people.
We are.
And it's really important to understand that and to appreciate that as well.
Yep.
We have in our town, you know, you can walk down 2nd Street, you can get Italian, you can get Mexican, you can get Thai food.
That's right.
You know, it's something really cool that not everybody has. And speaking more on the culture side, you know, I know a lot of people know of our Chinese connection and things like that. I met some people at a restaurant. They were out of town, they were visiting, and they were staying at the Merle. And I was talking to them, and I said, "You know how we built that, right?" She's like, "No, what are you talking about?" She's like, "Well, that's, you know, in correlation with the Chinese." And then I told them the whole story of President Xi Jinping coming here and everything, and they were really amazed. You know, that we had that here in Muscatine, a little town in Iowa.
That's right. I have been to some of the, well, we have had the International Fair. We haven't had it for a couple of years, but the International Diversity Fair that we were doing down on the riverfront. I don't know if you were at any of those, but also some of the fairs that you've had at MCC that have been just wonderful, the diversity fairs. I just think it's amazing to see all of the different cultures come together and embrace them, and we can all learn from one another so much.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there things that Muscatine can do to help the LULAC Club? What can we do?
I think at the end of the day is just show your support.
Absolutely.
If there's an event going on, please feel free to stop by and say hello. We're not gonna, force you to sign your name on any papers, but we're gonna talk to you. We're gonna say hello and ask how you're doing. And real quick, they were showing some pictures of us at the college, and I'd just like to say that we're fairly new.
Sure.
This is gonna be coming up our end of second, coming up third year there.
Okay.
So this was started by a few students, and it's grown substantially. Recently, there was a group of about 10 of us who took our trip to Washington, D.C.
How nice. I know there was a PowerPoint that came through later today that we weren't able to get uploaded. Is there another place they can see that?
Yeah. So we'll try to upload it on maybe on our Facebook page, or
that'd
maybe
be great.
somewhere at the college, and we'll work on doing that because we still have some presentations to do as well at
on
the college.
On the Washington D.C. trip. So, how many people are in your group then?
That's one of them right there.
Oh, how nice!
We went to Senator Chuck Grassie's office, and that's us there sitting outside of it.
How nice!
And we got to meet some of the people who work with him there as well. And, very interesting.
Oh yeah.
That was after a long walk there.
Oh, it is a long walk,
Right.
and you can't park anywhere close in Washington D.C. They have you park a long way, and you can take the. Did you take the train that goes underneath?
So if you don't mind, this was our first big trip we were to take with LULAC. There was a national conference in February, but we didn't have the time. We didn't have the money at the time. So we got together and we thought we still want to do something for our students to educate them, and we ended up we can still go to Washington.
Okay.
And with some fundraising and things like that, we eventually had enough money to go there. Now we were still on a budget, so it was a lot of walking.
Oh yeah.
But it was a good thing still.
Sure.
We got to see a lot of the culture, a lot of the people. We took the metro.
Yeah, that's what I meant, the metro. It's only like $10 and you can go all over.
Right, and that's something, we're from a small town in Muscatine, and there are some people who are like from West Liberty who come to the college as well. And it was an experience that we haven't had before.
I think that every American citizen should go to Washington, D.C. at least once. It's an amazing place, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
The history and the monuments, they're just so moving.
Absolutely.
How long were you there?
We were there for about 3 days or so there, So we left rather early on, I think it was Monday around 1 o'clock in the morning to drive to the airport. Some of us didn't even sleep from the day before.
Oh, I bet.
And it was we went to a couple museums. The first one we went to was the American Memorial Holocaust Museum.
Oh, isn't that awful though?
And
you leave kind of sad, don't you?
Absolutely. And real quick, what I'd like to say is what we kind of went away with, unfortunately, at the end is we saw some of what happened. We saw children and parents put into camps, put into cages. And we took a step back and thought, looks really similar to now.
Yep.
And that was a big takeaway that we had from that.
Oh,
yes,
sure.
Very sad, and just seeing what happened. We also learned a lot that we didn't know before.
Yep.
It wasn't just the Jews.
No.
It was the elderly. It was other religious people. It was a whole mix of people there as well.
The thing that impressed me the most, well, the whole thing is, it's just awful to go through, but we need to remember it so that it never happens again.
Absolutely.
But the thing that impressed me the most was the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
The big box filled with all the shoes of all of the survivors and of the children, and to think of what happened to them. Because they were from a different culture.
There were 2 times where I got teary-eyed.
Uh-huh.
The first time was walking into one of the train cars
Mm-hmm.
that they were in.
Yes.
And it really hit you like an invisible slap in the face.
Yeah.
And the second time, we're almost done. And they have pictures there on the wall. And, you know, that's a children's room. And it shows, it depicts, you know, them at the ghetto and them doing things like that. And I thought, oh, how cool that, you know, they were able to give this to the museum. And then I looked underneath the picture, and it said, died at Auschwitz. Died in Auschwitz.
I know.
And it was a lot. That's a lot.
It is. One of our daughters went to Auschwitz, and she went with a friend, and they went and toured a lot of World War, of the war sites and several different concentration camps. But they were smart enough to divide their trip into, they did all the sad things first, and then all the fun things last, because it's really not vacation when you're enmeshed in tragedy like that. But I am such a proponent of not forgetting.
Absolutely.
How that wasn't very long ago that happened. I mean,
Yeah.
my dad was alive when that happened and can remember, and it's like, are you kidding? You know, to think that it happened that short little handful ago needs to keep us on our toes of respecting each other.
Right.
And respecting our cultures. You know, we're not all the same, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
How boring would it be? So if somebody wants to join the LULAC Club, then they can, if they're a college student, then they can contact you at MCC.
Contact me, contact Becky Vargas. She's one of the advisors there. And my email, I'll say it there for people who would like to contact me, is it's salazarleza12@gmail.com. So SALAZARLEZA and the number 12 at gmail.com. So email me or come to the college and ask about it, and the people are more than happy to help you.
So you do have a Facebook page, right? Is it just Muscatine LULAC?
We haven't done too terribly much on our Facebook page. So I think this coming year we're going to try to be more active on that and on social media and things like that.
That might help people in the community become more aware, and especially, you know, if you guys are doing fundraisers for another trip or some kind of an event that you're going to do, that would be really nice for people to be able to keep in touch and see what's coming up. So yes, I found this page, just LULAC Muscatine. So maybe concentrate on putting some more stuff on there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So this
this workshop.
Yeah. So this was and some of the pictures you saw here were from a year or so ago. So one of the big goals that we're going to have this coming semester is to update this to keep the public informed.
That's great.
And just real quick though, I'd like to tell you, the trip, you know, we went there, we went to the American Indian Museum, and we saw the monuments, and like you were saying, it's really cool just to be able to walk the streets.
It is.
Where hundreds of important decisions have been made. And also, we stayed, it wasn't a hotel, it was an Airbnb, so it was a house.
Oh really? Okay.
And it was one of the best experiences that I've had with the group, because we were like a family.
Sure.
We got up in the morning, we all had our responsibilities, we woke up, we made breakfast, and we sat down together.
Yep.
Like a family in the morning.
Absolutely. What a wonderful experience. You guys will never forget that. You won't.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And the goal is this becomes the norm, that we do something like this, maybe possibly every 2 years or so, so people going to have a chance to go.
That's awesome. And you know, as our youth grow up, you know, through our Muscatine Junior High and the Muscatine High School, and then go on to Muscatine Community College, this will be nice for them to be able to have that to look forward to as well.
And I know one of the things that we would really love to do, and it might take some time, is that we understand that, you know, like at the high school, there isn't necessarily a Latino group
Right.
for kids to go to. So we're gonna be trying to see who we can talk to organize something like that.
Okay.
And we think it'd be really cool because they'd have those connections.
I think so too.
Right now, there's a group in place. It's not from us, but we do work a lot with them. It's called Juntos. It's
Yes.
from the
Iowa State University Extension.
Right, and actually, our one of the other vice presidents, she works for them,
Yes.
and they do a lot of work in high school and in middle school, trying to prepare not just the kids but these parents.
But the parents on a nice academic experience for their children.
Yeah,
Yes. Juntos is a wonderful program.
absolutely.
It is. And that's great that you guys can be involved in that too.
I believe, I think last week actually, they went to an etiquette dinner at the Murrow, and then they went to the college. And I was lucky enough to be with them on a tour and talk with them a little bit about LULAC, and we went on a tour of the campus, and we played with the virtual reality welders.
Okay.
And they actually got competitive.
Uh-huh.
You know, they started trying to beat each other's scores and things like that. So
Yes.
it's really nice to know that we have these group of kids
Yes.
that are looking forward to maybe something
Sure.
like this.
And if people are interested in the Juntos program, they can contact Iowa State University Extension, and they are in their new building. So they used to be over across from Hines, but they've now moved out more on the north end of town.
Right. So yeah, just if you'd like to find out more about that and how to get involved with that program, look it up, and you can find a number there and get in contact.
Sure could. Sure could.
And,
Very good. Thank you so much for coming, Daniel, and for all that you're doing with this effort. I love it. I think it's a wonderful program, and if there's ever anything that I can do to help, please let me know, because I would be more than happy to help in any way. And if you ever have an event or a fundraiser coming up in the future, please let me know, and we'd love to have you back on to plug it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. It was my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I'm so pleased that you were. We're going to go ahead and get started now with a couple of things that I need to let you know about before we leave for the evening and call it a night. So next Tuesday, we did this once before. One time we took our city show on the road, and we went to the Muscatine High School and taped the Special Olympics and firefighter and police officer basketball game, and it was so much fun. Well, we're going to do that again. This Thursday, as I already said, is the Almost Friday Fest, the very first one ever. Chris Bohr and Brenda Christensen have worked tirelessly bringing this together for our community, and it's under the guidance of Keep Muscatine Beautiful. So they've really thought outside the box of another way to keep Muscatine beautiful by having fun events for us to get together and spend time together. You know, like Daniel and I were just talking about, there's so much to be said for the differences that we all had, but we can cherish them and visit with one another. And what a wonderful opportunity to do that at the Almost Friday Fest. So we are going to be there on Thursday night, excuse me, and I'm going to drive the golf cart for a little while. When I'm done with that, Chad and Ryan are going to show you some of the fun from Almost Friday Fest. They're going to videotape some of that, and we will show that to you for the Our City show on Tuesday night. We're going to have two guests, Jody Hansen with the Greater Muscatine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and she's going to tell us everything we need to know about the 4th of July festivities. You know, we got the parade, we got the fireworks, we've got everything going on that day, tons of stuff. So she's going to give us the skinny on where we need to be and when on the 4th of July. And also we're going to talk to Big Brother, Big Sister people. We have Alyssa Castle and Samantha. I've lost your name for a minute, but I'll think of it in a minute. Let me see here. Where'd it go? Samantha Bierman, I'm so sorry, I couldn't think of your last name, because I just found out today Lindsay Phillips is going to be out of town. She was going to talk to us about Bowl for Kids' Sake, but she's going to send Alyssa and Samantha instead. And so we're going to hook up with these guys at the Almost Friday Fest. It's going to be a wonderful evening, everything all put together, and we will bring that to you next Tuesday here on Our City, and we hope that you join us. We hope you get to Almost Friday Fest, but if you don't, we will have the juice to share with you. Reminder, no city council meeting this week. And then also, I just wanted to leave you with the following week, the following Thursday after the 4th of July. All right, I've got that all mixed up. Instead of having council meeting on the 4th of July, the Wednesday night before is when we're going to have the council meeting. So a day early on a Wednesday night, unheard of, we're going to have a council meeting. And so July 3rd, but that's next week. I'm like 2 weeks off here tonight, either early or late. But we've had a wonderful evening. I can't thank Auston McClain enough. I certainly can't thank Daniel Salazar enough for, coming and talking to us about their passions. And isn't it wonderful that we have these folks here in our city that are passionate about helping others, about lifting others up, and that's what makes us such a wonderful city. Thank you so much for coming and joining us tonight, and we hope to see you next week here on Our City.
Our City with Mayor Diana Broderson replays on MPW Channel 9, Wednesday at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. and Thursday at 7 a.m. Of course, we're live every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook. Email us at ourcity@muscatineiowa.gov.